Alright, so Seth Jones has made it clear to the Columbus Blue Jackets recently that he will be willing to test the market once he finishes off the final year of his deal. And for Columbus, this continues a very worrisome trend for them. If you're Columbus, what do you do with this guy? I think you have to trade him, obviously, whether it's this summer or for sure if your team is out of contention by the trade deadline, presumably in March or late February of next year. And you have to sell him off because I'm assuming the Columbus Blue Jackets will not be very good next year. And they're probably going to have to go through a bit of a retool, if not maybe a full-on rebuild. I don't know if they're going to go down that road or not. But for Seth Jones, he has 1 year left at $5.4 million, and you have to trade him because he's probably just going to get up and sign a free agent deal with someone else in the summer next year. He's a guy who, you know, he's 26 years old now. He's experienced moderate team success. He's had great individual success. I think he's a very underrated defenseman still. More and more people are starting to talk about him, but because he is in Columbus, I don't think enough people talk about him. And for Seth Jones, like I said, moderate team success he's experienced. I think he's at an age now, 26, you know, where he's probably looking ahead and he's like, you know, I don't want to be around Columbus now with them starting a potential rebuild, and we probably won't be cup contenders for at least 3 to 5 more years. So he's probably looking at that, and he wants to sign with a team where he can have a chance to contend for a Stanley Cup, something he really hasn't had a shot at yet in his career, except for maybe 2019. They had a pretty strong team. Columbus, probably the strongest team in their history. They ultimately lost in round 2 to the Boston Bruins in 6 games, though. And poor Jarmo Kekalainen and the Columbus Blue Jackets and their fans, I feel really bad for them, honestly. They just can't seem to keep good players around. You can argue right now in the Seth Jones situation that, well, you know, they're a bad team. Maybe he doesn't really want to be on that. It's unattractive to play for a bad team regardless of who you are. Even the most storied franchise, or one of the most storied franchises in the Toronto Maple Leafs, had a hard time attracting good talent, you know, just 5 or 6 years ago when they were going through their struggles. So that's understandable. But Columbus had a strong team just as recently as 2 years ago, and the reason why they're not as strong now is because all their free agents got up and left. And I don't know if it was money or John Tortorella back then. Obviously, John Tortorella can't be a factor in Seth Jones now because he's not going to be the coach going forward. Tortorella won't be. So I don't know what it was with those guys like Panarin, Bobrovsky, Duchesne. Sounded like he wanted to sign in Columbus. I ultimately don't think he ever really wanted to. He never really seemed overly happy in Columbus. That was just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm making more out of it than what it really was. But for Seth Jones, I think he's going to have to move on. Obviously, Panarin moved on. He signed that big deal with the Rangers as a free agent, and Bobrovsky moved on. He signed the big deal with Florida as a free agent. I wouldn't cry too much over Bobrovsky if I'm a Columbus Blue Jackets fan, because the guy went to Florida and he melted like a sugar cube in the hot Florida sun down there. He just hasn't been very good in the 2 years he's been there. So now they don't have a great team because all those free agents left. And Panarin, he always said he desired the big city life. He wanted to be this, I don't know, this big city, this cool Russian running around New York City, just lapping up all the fame in the world. And maybe Columbus couldn't have offered him that. I think that was a really unfortunate situation for the Blue Jackets. He was probably one of, if not arguably, the best player in Blue Jackets history, perhaps. I don't know, Rick Nash was pretty good when he was there. And hey, Rick Nash too, by the way. My goodness, that just popped into my head now that I mentioned his name. He wanted out of Columbus. In fairness to Nash, though, at that time, the Blue Jackets were very bad, so maybe that was part of the reason too, I would have to think. But I don't know what it is. I mean, the organization, Columbus sounds like a good city to live in. It's safe. It sounds like a good place to raise a family if you're a player with a family. But I don't know, maybe some guys, they just find it too boring for them. There's not enough notoriety. The Blue Jackets probably are one of the most unmained teams in the NHL. No offense to you, Columbus Blue Jackets fans, but I'm just kind of saying what I think a lot of people think. But those are my thoughts on the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Seth Jones situation, the big dilemma here that they're going through right now, and just the big dilemma they seem to go through a lot with star players. They're one of those organizations that just can't seem to hold on to star players, and I feel bad for them. I hope it does turn around for the Blue Jackets and that they can draft some really good players too. Pierre-Luc Dubois, another one. I don't know the future of Patrick Laine. Dubois, I think it was more of a rift between him and Tortorella than the organization, though, to be honest with you. But with that being said, Let me know what all you guys think in the comment section below, especially if you're a Columbus Blue Jackets fan. I have to imagine you guys must be really frustrated by this. And I mean, it's got to be terrible losing your star players. Even when you guys had a competitive team, they still wanted to leave. I mean, man, I would probably hate Panarin forever if I were you guys. And I thought that was, I don't know, I mean, it's his right to leave as a free agent, but I was like, come on, you have a good team. And I just felt bad for Columbus when I saw that. So let me know all that and more in the comment section down below. Please like and subscribe and share this video as always. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you all again soon.